Welcome to Out Loud and In Progress, where real talk lives, healing happens, and no part of the journey gets left behind. I'm El Sunshine, and around here we speak on love, grief, friendship, growth, and everything that life throws in the mix. This podcast ain't about being perfect, it's about being real, messy, magical, and still in motion. And sometimes we're going to do some laughing, some learning, but I promise to always be transparent with you and keep it real. So whether you're unfolding, unlearning, or just trying to hold it together, you do not have to do it alone. You can do it with me, El Sunshine. So let's get into it.
Laughing through the lessons, growing real fast. No fake pop, just heart and finesse. Killing ain't linear, but we still say yes. We moving forward, flaws and all. Crying, loving, rising from the fall. This ain't polish, it's process, baby. But we keep showing up, even when it's shaky out. And in progress, talking through the problems and transplant. To life, we unpacking the stress with good vibes, big laughs, say less. What?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out Loud and In Progress. And this is your girl, Leah Sunshine, and I am so happy to be with you guys for another episode, episode 6. This is a very, very special episode that is near and dear to my heart because not only does it involve me speaking out loud and continuing to be in progress, it includes my husband speaking out loud and in progress about his special journey. So, the name of this episode is A New Heart, Same Soul. What they don't tell you about surviving. This episode is about what happens after the life saving surgery, the miracle, the fear, the grief, the gratitude, the identity shift. I'm sitting down with someone who lived it, my husband, who received a heart transplant and had to fight his way back to life, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and still continuing to do this even over a year out. What we're going to talk about today is what no one tells you about after the life saving surgery. How the world expects you to just be grateful when you're still healing. The shifts in identity, emotions, relationships, and your purpose in life. And also the weight of survivor's guilt, fear of rejection, of the organ, and from people, and learning to live life again. So, this story is about more than just survival. It's a story of renewal, a story of rebirth, and a story of finding out who you are after this life saving procedure. I would like to welcome my husband that is sitting here with me today, Kelvin. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Today's episode hit really close to home for me and close to the heart, literally. My husband received a heart transplant last year, the end of June. So we're a little over a year out, and it saved his whole life. So we're not going to just tell the story of his heart transplant. We're going to talk about what people don't talk about, as well as what they talk about. We're going to talk about the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, the emotional, mental, and spiritual weight of surviving something that could have taken you out. So let's get into it. All right, Kelvin. So take me back to the moment when you first found out you needed a heart transplant. What went through your mind?
Well, it wasn't so much of what went through my mind. It was so much of, I can't believe this day has come. Because I knew for a while that I needed a heart transplant. I knew for a while that I needed another heart. Or I knew for a while that eventually I would have come to this day. So, but when it finally hit me that I needed another heart, I was like, wow, so this day has finally come.
Got you. And I get what you're saying by that because you're right. You were living with congestive heart failure. You had two strokes way before then. We knew that your heart function was decreasing and it was about, in the 20 range. So we knew something was going to happen eventually. I know for me, I wasn't necessarily surprised, but it hit and it was like, okay, you're right. This day is here. Now what are we going to do? How are we going to handle it? And how are we going to go forward? Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. It wasn't necessarily like a big shocker in that instance, but it was more like, okay, now we at the next step.
But if you can really analyze, I've been preparing for this day a long time. That's why I've been working so hard. I've been trying to provide, get you ahead and stuff in life. I've been pretty much preparing for it
Right.
my
We
whole
have.
life.
And talking about what would happen if you passed or talking to the kids and being open and honest with them about the situation. And a lot of people may not do that because they're scared, like, oh, I'm not going to tell the kids, we just going I think by not telling them it would have made it worse.
Yes, I totally agree because one thing we talked about way before this heart transplant is leaving the kids in the dark about anything. And that's one thing we never did.
I didn't want it to be a surprise to them, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, dad's good, and then next thing you know, he's not.
Exactly,
Give
exactly.
them a chance to process the possibility to get closer to you, to do those things with you that they want to do. That's always been my thing. And I know parents, old school people, they decided differently. They decided to keep things away.
And don't tell you. Then once something happened, then you be like, why they didn't tell me? Well, they ain't wanted to hurt you. They ain't wanted this to
I
happen.
think it hurts more that you didn't know and you
Exactly.
didn't
It
get a
does. It
chance.
does.
Yeah,
It
for
does.
sure.
And I can tell you by from
Personal experience.
personal experience, and it happened to me.
Right. Was there a moment where this situation became real for you? So knowing you had to have a heart transplant, was there any moment in that process that it became like, oh goodness, this is real?
The thing that made it feel like, oh, this is about to happen is the day I got the phone call and they tell me to come to the hospital.
Okay.
And we decided to do what I wanted to do before I go in, just in case we don't make it out the other end. We went
To
to
top
Top
golf. You
Golf. We
never done
went,
that before?
never done that before. We went out to eat. Then I thank my brother because my brother came and shared that moment with me. I think our friend T, she came and spent the moment with us. It was a moment that I would never forget. It's like my heart automatically just skipped a beat when they told me to come into the hospital. And I can never explain that feeling, but it's a feeling you'll never forget.
I got you. So the moment that it became real for me is when they were saying, okay, you need a heart transplant. You need to come to all these meetings and meet with all these different people. We met with the LVAD people. And for you guys that don't know what an LVAD is, it's like some people get an LVAD before they get a heart. And it's basically a mechanical heart, right? That will work as your heart until you can get a heart if you're qualified. So we went to this meeting to talk about an LVAD, to talk with the social workers, to talk with nutrition and health. It was like a day full of like people coming back to back to back to back. I'm going to tell you the moment it became real. It was a point in that meeting where they're like, okay, you need to designate someone else other than you that can advocate for him just in case you're not there. Right. And I'm like, okay, but I'm that person. I'm thinking to myself, no, it's me. I'm that person. And I'm thinking, like, who could be that person for us? I don't have any siblings. People have their own lives. I don't have like any like real close friends that are here in South Carolina or in our city. And it became real for me at that moment, like, wow, I need to really like buckle down and think about who could advocate for you if I'm not there. And after we kind of narrowed it down, our friend T stepped in, and I was so grateful for that. She has passed away, so rest in peace to her, but she was there for us every step of the way. So
Yes.
it's the people I think that you think won't be there for you that will. So that was the
Yeah.
moment where it became real and we were at these meetings and meeting with different people. I'm like, oh crap, it's really about to probably happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a real serious question. What was the hardest part about waiting and what made your situation interesting? Is you're right. You got that call, right? We went, ate something different. We went and did a different type of activity. We went to like an outdoor festival and listened to some music. We had a really, really good weekend, right? Just doing all those things and spending time with you because you were getting ready to go in the hospital. And to be honest with you, we didn't know when you were coming back out because it was all about a waiting game,
We
right?
know
Waiting,
when or if.
if true, waiting for your heart, right? So you were in there for what, 3 months, almost
Three and
4?
a half
I
months.
was about to say 3, almost 4. So
Mhm.
what was the hardest part about that 3.5, almost 4 month wait?
Keeping my mental right, because of what they don't tell you is waiting so long is not a battle of when you're going to get the heart. It's a battle of keeping your mind on beat, making sure that you realize it's not nobody else going through this but you. You got to realize you have people that's supportive. You got to realize you have someone that's there for you. They may not be there at the moment, but they are there. They're only a phone call away. And it's a lot that you have to really, really, really prepare yourself for. Because if I didn't have my wife, my kids, or even the nursing staff, I'd like to give a shout out to my nurse Brittany, excellent nurse,
MUSC in
MUSC
Charleston.
Charleston. Brittany has been such a good help for me. It's a little joke going around, even though I'm married, I started calling Brittany my hospital wife.
Right, she was.
She was my hospital wife.
Right.
It was days I was in there sitting around doing nothing, just don't feel like doing nothing, don't have the energy to do it, don't even have the drive to do nothing. And she would come in there, she can just tell, even though she had me and one, maybe two other persons as a patient, she always made sure she came in there and checked on me. She kept my spirits up. She made sure that I didn't sit in a slumber too long. She came and sat down and talked to me. She was there. On top of that, my wife. And man, she played a very vital point on me getting through this. Along with me in the hospital, it gave me time to think of what all she been through. Not only me thinking about going through this and how she felt, it's like when you sitting there and you seeing she has to go on with her life. We have 2 kids. We have a boy and a girl. So she has to be there for them too. Not only she's being there for me, she's being there for them, constantly posting pictures, showing me things that they're doing, and it makes you feel like, wow, like, damn, they're living their life without you. People don't understand that. It's a good thing to see that she's carrying on, but it kinda hurts, make you feel like you're being left out a little bit.
And I can understand that. That was going to honestly be my answer for the hardest part of waiting. Like having to go on,
Yeah.
having to still work and
Mhm.
still take care of the family and still do all the things that I need to do, plus trying to figure out how to do the things that you were doing and still trying to still enjoy life with the kids and myself. There was a little, point where you feel guilty, but then at the same time, I had to live and do the things that I needed to do too to make sure everything was good, to make sure that not only the house was good, but me mentally, right,
Mhm.
was good.
Yeah.
We never been apart in our 20, 5, 26 years of being together.
It's
So
true.
for us to be apart for almost 4 months, that was tough. So I get it. Part of me was feeling bad about that, but then the other part knew I needed that in order to continue on.
Yeah, and I'm kinda glad that you did because it also kept the kid's mind going and not
Occupied.
yeah, occupied from worrying about me, but at the same time, it still kinda just felt awkward not being there.
I get it. So let's talk about the aftermath and what no one really talks about when it comes down to having organ transplant, in your situation, a heart transplant surgery or awaiting a heart transplant
Mhm.
surgery. So people think once the surgery is over, it's all about just celebrating. But what really happens after that? What's the real deal? What really happens after the surgery is over?
Well, to be honest, having a heart transplant surgery is just the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Nobody ever tell you everything you go through afterwards, like the wait, the preparation. They expect you to stand up and walk the day after you have your transplant. It's a physical ongoing battle,
Mhm.
mental ongoing battle. Mm,
They tell you about the basic things, right? And
mhm,
and this is the reason why I wanted to do the podcast.
mhm,
Because I mean, they tell you baseline. We're gonna ask you to walk. We're gonna ask you to do this. Blah 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 blah. They tell you the medical side of things,
mhm,
and even then, they can tell you a little bit about what they know and prior experience, but they can't even tell you all the medical things at times. But
mhm.
they don't tell you about the mental. They don't tell you after your surgery, okay, you're happy, right? Oh man, I got maybe a new outlook at life. Maybe I can expand my life, by a couple years. But they don't talk about how, especially in our situation, how we had to now reconnect. It's not the same life that we were accustomed to before you went in. We had to readjust, change things, medicine regimen, when you need to take it, taking your blood pressure several times a day, finger pricks to check your blood sugar several times a day, shifting things. Even us, we almost had to get to know each other all over again. Because to be quite honest, after having a life changing surgery such as that, you are not the same individual.
100% true.
And for me going through it, I am not the same individual. I had independence basically for 3 or 4 months. I was without you and a husband for 3 or 4 months. And when I say that, of course, we're still married, but you physically being here and being that person in the home. So even for me, I had to readjust. It was almost like I was single again. I'm going to and fro and doing things, that, you know, you know, and now you back, and it's just like, wow, we literally had to get to know each other
Yeah,
again on all levels, mentally, physically, spiritually,
socially.
socially, emotionally.
Mhm.
And we're still over a year out adjusting and continuing to have these conversations with each other. So I don't think people talk about this. They don't talk about the struggles for reconnecting, coming back together. They just talk about the baseline. Oh, you're alive. You're good now. You're out of the water now. But nobody talks about like the actual toll that the whole process takes on you,
Yeah,
the people that are around you, the people that you care about, and the people that care about you.
yeah. And plus they don't prepare you for the mental you feel about the person who you got the heart from. They don't tell you how you'll feel. Like me, I'm very thankful that the family member gave me the heart, but it's sad that one person has to pass in order for you to live on.
So that was another question I had. Since you're talking about that, we could talk about survivor's guilt. And that is associated survivor's guilt, meaning you feel a little guilty for having to take that heart from that person. Although the circumstances for you taking it was because they expired, right?
Mhm.
And that gave an opportunity for you. But do you feel survivor's guilt?
I do,
Okay.
but I try not to let it make me feel stagnant. I try not to make me feel bad, not due to the reason why I got it or how I got it, but due to the reason that it was there for me and that I have to live on because of the person who gave it to me. I have to make sure that this heart that they gave me lives throughout its course for that person that gave it to me, or the reason that person gave it to
And
me.
out of respect for that, for the
Mhm.
family, for them protecting it and doing the
Yeah.
best you can. How do you feel like the transplant affected me?
I think the transplant has traumatized you a little bit.
Yeah.
Even before the transplant, my strokes traumatized you a little bit, changed you tremendously. Not for the worse, for the better in some ways. It made you stronger, made you felt like you can be more independent if I'm not here.
I will say that it made me more vigilant to
Mhm.
you. I will say that I did have a touch of PTSD because of the strokes and different things, and I was more, like, hyper sensitive and hyper aware of how you move, how you look, how you jerk, how you da da da.
Mm.
You stumble a little bit. I'm like, "You good, you good." I mean, even now,
Yeah.
I'm kinda like I'm kinda I don't know if I'm as bad, but I am like that
Yeah,
now. I'm
you
still like, "Okay,
you
sorry."
worse
Oh,
now.
worse?
Yeah, you worse now, but
I know
it's
what you
more aware. You're
right,
more aware of signs and symptoms now.
for sure.
It shows me that I'm not only aware of what's going on, you are aware of what's going on.
Mhm.
So therefore, I know that the slightest move, the slightest wink, the slightest breath I take,
I'm
I
like, "You
know that you
good?
notice.
You alright? How you feeling? Was it like this all day? When did this start?" Like, you could just take you probably even just taking a deep breath. You know how people just take a deep breath after they try to just take a load off, like, "Oh," and I'm like, "You good?"
Yeah, you short of breath?
It is like that. I mean,
Did you tell the doctor?
right. I'll be on my chart like,
Yeah,
"Okay, let's get it."
yeah.
And then another thing you said, you're right, it did make me independent to a certain extent. I'm not happy for the reasoning, right, for me becoming a little more independent. But
I'm used to doing a lot with you and for you, you know,
yeah,
but being independent, it's a good thing, but, it makes me feel like I'm less useful.
I get that. But then on the other flip, I had to start saying, "What if you're no longer here?"
Yeah.
So I had to start taking on some of those things that I was either too lazy to do, afraid to do.
Before you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, I need to start driving myself. I need to start doing things myself." I understand how that would have made you feel.
Yeah, because I always have and I always will enjoy doing things for you. Like, I love being like your personal escort. I love driving you places. I told you once we got together, I'll drive you wherever you wanna go, and I still
You still
do
do,
that,
right?
you know? And, it hurts a little bit that I I don't have the endurance to do as much as I used to, and just like before I had my heart transplant, I'll go I'll do whatever I can do. Just like I worked a full job knowing I needed a heart before I even started working. Even during work, I was short of breath. I will continue to do for you and my family as if nothing was going on.
And I think now we've probably found a happy medium,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
To where I wanna still allow you to do those things if you choose. But then I think sometimes too, I have to choose, okay, I need to do this for me.
Yeah.
I have to do this for me
Mhm.
because it helped me. I'm gonna be real. I grew a lot.
Yeah.
And I told myself I wanted to take that time to grow for me, find me again. Because, guys out there, if you've been with somebody for a long time, that person becomes your identity almost. Like, literally. You almost walk, talk, breathe, eat the same as that person when you've been together for as long as we have. So I do think that time, although the circumstances weren't ideal, it allowed me to grow into me, find out who I am, what I like to do. And now, honestly, I think we do like a good job. Like, you take time for you when you want to do stuff, whether it's playing your game, going outside and tinkering in the yard,
Or even going away for the weekend.
right? Spending time with your
Yep.
brothers, going fishing. Like,
Mhm.
those are things we probably didn't even do before because it's like we just stayed stuck under each other. And
I
again, it's
wouldn't say
not
stuck.
okay.
I
It's
wouldn't say
it's
stuck. We just enjoy being under each other so much that we never thought about how
it would be any other
amazing it
way.
would be to spend time apart and
As
then
well.
reunite back together.
Okay, I'll go with
Yeah.
that. I'll go with that.
I don't think stuck is the right
But I don't
word.
think stuck was a bad word, but I do you're right.
And to you, it may not be a bad word. To me, it feel like I
held
you
okay,
against your
no.
will or something.
No. You should
Yeah.
know better than that.
Yeah, I know, but the
Nobody
word
holding me.
stuck. Yeah, the word stuck ain't a good word for me.
We were just so used to things being that way.
Exactly. For
Right.
years, you've been my best friend and I've been your best friend.
Right.
Even to now.
Yeah.
But we learned that we can still be best friends and not be up under each other all the time.
Correct. Give each other space to think, to breathe, to grow, to do things that maybe perfect example. Do things that we didn't like. I don't like fishing. Go.
Yeah. I love fishing.
Please. If that's what you love to do, don't expect me to do it, but enjoy. The only thing I want to know, you okay? You all right? You with someone?
Yeah, I'll check
Instead
in.
of by yourself?
I'll check in.
Correct. Other than that, and go enjoy. That is not something I enjoy. Me, I like to probably just chill, lay in bed, watch some YouTube, run my socials.
You like to do different things. Like you like to eat at different restaurants. That's your thing.
I do love that.
I like doing it only when I'm with you.
I got you.
But I can eat the same thing.
I got you. Every day.
Every day.
Probably.
You know?
Fried bologna sandwich.
Well, I love me a fried bologna sandwich. But I can't eat as much as those things I used to like before.
Let's talk about your identity now and your healing. We vaguely touched on, did you feel like the same person after the transplant or did something shift? And we kind of talked about that, but I want to, kind of touch back on that. And what specifically, like, do you feel like the same person or did something shift?
Something did shift. I'm not quite sure what it is. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
But I know for a fact I'm not the same person I was when I went into it. And I'm not the same person I am when I came out. The first person I was when I went into it, I'm different from that. And the person I was when I came out, I'm different from that.
Absolutely.
It's like 3 different transitions that went on within 3.5 months. And even to now, I'm not the same person that I was after I came out. It's hard to explain, and I say it's hard to explain because I don't even know.
You're still trying to find who you are
and what I want now, even going through what I'm going through after. So it's kind of hard to answer that question.
And I get that, but that's what this podcast is about, right? Like the name of it is Out Loud and continuing to be in progress. Whoever would claim that they got it all figured out they're just not telling the truth. Now they may have a piece of the puzzle, but I feel like as human beings, we should at least continue to learn, evolve, and figure it out. Because what worked yesterday may not work today, may not work next week. So honestly, I respect the fact that you could say, you know what? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out where I am and who I am after my surgery.
I actually, honestly and truthfully can tell you is that after my surgery, it made me more aware of what I say and do.
Okay.
As far as talking to you, talking to the kids, talking to anybody, it makes me think a little more and a little harder than I used to before.
Okay.
And sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. But I know I'm at a place in my life that I know when I'm wrong and I know how to apologize for my mistakes.
You do well with that. And we do well with communicating and talking about those things. Now, what I will say, you are the worst patient ever.
Well, I wouldn't say worse.
Oh,
I just know what I want and I want it how I like it.
You are the worst. You're grumpy. Okay, fine. You do know what you want, how you like things, right?
I know when I want to be helped and I know when I don't want to be touched.
I love that. I never worry about you when when it comes down to those things, especially if you can speak for yourself. You will definitely advocate for yourself. But you be Mr. Grumpy Pants. That's why every time you go in the hospital, I'm like, Mr. Grumpy Pants. No. But now don't get me wrong. I understand, especially with this heart transplant.
It's a difference between bad grumpy pants and good grumpy pants.
No, ain't no such thing.
Yeah.
Ain't no such thing as good grumpy pants. You be so grumpy. And with this situation, I'm gonna be real. It hurt to see you. Again now, I'm speaking openly. I understand, right? But it did hurt when I came in there and you were like in the worst mood and grumpy because of course because you were an hour 20 minutes away, I couldn't get there every day, right?
Yeah.
We would FaceTime daily, we would talk daily. I would try to come there at least 2 times or 3 times a week. But because I didn't see you every day, the times that I did get up there, sometimes it was like it was the worst.
I know because I can look at you and I can see what you're thinking. Like, why did I come up here? Not because you didn't want it to, was because you would have went through all those emotions again.
It brought
It
me
was an
down.
emotional roller
But then
coaster.
at the same time, again, respectfully, I understood,
Yeah.
right? Because you were hooked up to this impeller.
Oh, that's another thing.
That was another thing. The impeller really brought your
Morale.
down because you were hooked to this machine. It was helping your heart pump. For those that don't know what an impeller is, it's basically a machine that they surgically insert into your heart to help your heart pump while you're in there to keep you going until they can get a heart for you. So they put him on this impeller so at least they can keep him sustained and alive until they find a heart.
Yeah.
So I will say, like, your mood totally changed once you got the impeller. Oh, and then he had a whole bunch of issues with the impeller.
Whole bunch of wires on me,
Oh, it was a
whole
lot.
bunch of needles, whole bunch of IVs.
He was having issues with gout while he was in there, cramping while he was in there,
Constipation.
sores. Oh, the
Constipation while I was in there.
constipation was really the worst. Like,
Because they was giving me antibiotics after antibiotics.
yeah.
Then they keeps giving me heparin injections, making me sore, making me cold. It was the heparin injection thin in my blood, making me freeze. It was a lot.
Now, as we're saying these things, I do understand
Why?
that the medical professionals had reasoning behind everything they did. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Kelvin is a very different body and particular person. I would really probably consider you an enigma. And the reason why I say that is because when you get in there or they give you one thing, it may cause something else that causes something else. And then now we're trying to figure out why this caused that and we trying to heal this. It is almost like a recurring thing. We need to give you this to help this, but then it actually may help that, but then it causes something else. And now they got to give you something else to help that.
Yeah.
It was just an ongoing thing of when we thought we had it, something else happened.
And that's one of the things that kept me down,
Yeah.
kept me depressed.
Yeah.
Because every time they give me something, it caused something else. Every time they give me something to help with that, it caused something else. That kind of stuff, man, if you don't have a good support system or a good backup, that man, you would sit there and wonder. You would sit and you would be wondering, like, why am I going through all this? Why? Would it just be easy if I just give up and just die?
And I could tell that on your face. And I guess that's why when I would walk in that room and you were having those moments, it hurt. Again, totally understood why, respected why. But then at the same time, while you were going through emotionally, I was too. I am not going to even try to say that it is comparable to what you were going through because I have no idea.
Oh,
Um,
no one can even fathom what I went through.
correct.
And I still don't even talk to you about everything I've been through.
And you should.
It's hard for me. It's even hard for me to talk about it on this podcast.
But I'm glad you
You know,
are because people need to know.
yeah. The nights waking up full of blood because everything is leaking out of you. You can barely sleep. You can barely turn because so many IVs and so many needles in you. They waking you up. They constantly coming in and getting blood work samples, and they come in like from 12 o'clock every 2 hours, waking you up to give you this. You can't rest. Since you can't rest, you're so cranky.
Oh, he was super cranky where they literally he was fussing so much about it, they had to put a note on the door. And basically like, okay, this room, you cannot come in after
12
12
to 6 o'clock
to
in the
6
morning.
so they can give him like that period so that he can sleep and relax. He was having a struggle for a lot of reasons. Regularly, he's very particular. And then if you add on the mental pressures and the pain that you may have been experiencing physically, mentally, I can understand. And that's why I really tried to be understanding, supportive, be there for you even though I was going through my own thing. I think we did well for the most part.
You did well. You did
When I
well.
say we, I say we. And I only say you two is because you had your reasons.
Then on top of that, I'm laying in a bed that my wife can't even lay down with me. I'm used to
I couldn't even hug you
Yeah, she couldn't even hug me.
because it was so much wires and stuff coming from you.
And then when she do hug you, you get this feeling rushing through your body, and then when she leave, it's still there.
Like I could only give you like a little half hug. I would kiss you, of course, but we didn't really like hug or embrace
To like 3 months.
3 or 4 months.
Mhm.
And then when you got home, it still was like that because your sternum
It's cracked
was
open.
cracked. We couldn't even really embrace, even though you were in the bed laying down for another 6 months or more, right? So the physical contact
Nah,
of it.
nah. Then when I got home, I couldn't even sleep in the bed
Oh,
for another month and a half.
true. You slept on the
Recliner.
recliner, right? Then you finally came to bed after a month. I couldn't lay on you like I normally do. We couldn't embrace like we normally do because you were still hurting.
I had to lay a specific way.
Correct. You couldn't lay on your side because the sternum.
Yeah.
Things like this. So it was tough. These are the things that people don't talk about. And I'm glad that we are having this conversation so that people can know, hey, if you're going through this or about to go through this, these are the things that can happen and you're not alone. I felt like I was alone, so to speak, in the journey because all you see is the people come out on the other end. I got my kidney. I got my heart. Or either on the beginning where, hey, can you guys help? We need funds. Okay, fine. All that is great. But nobody really talks about the in between or the after.
Well, let me ask you a question since
Sure.
you're asking me so many questions.
Okay.
I know it was a time when you felt like you was alone and like you had nobody to reach out to. When you finally reached out, did you reach out to someone and get somebody to talk to you or be a friend while I was in the hospital? Or when you did, who was it and how did they help you?
So that's a really good question. Of course, I have tea, right? But being the 4-5 hour distance and also people having their own lives, that's hard, right? To have that support that you needed. And then it is also not fair to depend on someone else fully for that, right? So I felt it was a little unfair. So I would kind of reach out when I felt it was necessary or ask for that when I felt I really needed it because trying to depend on somebody solely 100% was something that I was trying to navigate in my personal journey. Because, right, as we were saying before, I was used to having you, right? Now I don't have, technically, right, I don't have anybody in the home. So now I'm adjusting, but that was my time to get used to that. Patina was really, really, really helped with that. Just us talking and texting. So I met a new friend because I'll put an APB on in a minute. Hey, I'm looking for a friend. I'll go on an app, friends app, looking for friends. And I met Bettina, which really was like an awesome support for me during this transition. Two other people, Marcus and Brittany, they came through in an absolute cinch. We went out together, went to drag shows, dinner, all of that. Also, you were in the hospital during my birthday. And
Yeah.
my birthday is like a holiday.
And then and now that's another story because it hurt me because paid so much money for this lavish building.
Before you went in,
Before I
now we
went
had
in.
this all planned out. I was gonna rent a place, we were gonna have a pool party. But of course, I had already paid for it before we knew all these wheels were spinning. My birthday's in May. I'm like, well, I paid these thousands of dollars. Went in April. Birthday was in May. So no way I could have stopped all of that. So I was just like, where we gonna go? Now I'm not gonna lie, it was different because I'm used to having that support from you. I'm used to depending on you, looking at you when people get on my nerves, or you know me and you know how I like things,
And I can de-escalate you.
You do it. You know what I'm saying? So that was hard. But then at the same time, I will say, A lot of those people, especially Brittany and Marcus, came in the cinch for me. So I do appreciate that. Like, they handled the decorating, they handled all of that, and it took a lot off me. So thank you, T, Brittany, Marcus, Bettina. Those were, I'm gonna be real, those were the people that checked in on me.
Yeah.
Those were the people that called me. Those were the people that understood. And this is really important. And I'm about to cry as I talk about it. These were the people that understood. Yeah, you needed the heart, but I was going through too, right?
Mm.
Yeah, you was going through. And again, I take nothing from you and your journey and what you went
And
through,
I don't take nothing from you either.
but I was going through too.
Yeah.
And those are the people that not only recognize you were, but recognize that I was. So, guys, I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Got a little emotional,
You
but
know,
that's
and to be honest, that was the time where I was most down and depressed
yeah.
because I wasn't there for your birthday. And then, what helped me through that was when the lady that came in with the instrument,
Oh, and you made me the
and I
song.
made you a song for your birthday.
That was so nice, guys. But yeah, it was just a very emotional roller coaster journey. And honestly, it's a part of our fabric, right? And it made us who we are. So, what did you learn in the quiet moments that no one saw?
That I was stronger than I thought I was. I was going through the hardest part of it and realized I was going through the hardest part of the transplant. I realized that that was the part a lot of people don't make it through.
Mm.
And when I say don't make it through, I mean like either I'm gonna have the transplant and make it, or don't make it, or I'm not gonna have the transplant and don't make it.
Right, right, right,
So I realized that that was the strongest and the most vulnerable part of my life.
right.
And I noticed that if I can make it through the transplant, then it wasn't nothing that I can't make it through. So, and the moments that I get depressed, then it remind me of who I'm doing this for. I'm doing this first and foremost for me.
T.
And then I'm doing this for you and my kids, my family. And if I didn't continue this journey for my family, then everything that I've done in life, then it would have been for nothing. Me working as hard as I worked, knowing that I should have not been working, me doing the things I'm doing, knowing that I shouldn't have been doing it, it would have been of no cause because I gave up the biggest thing that meant to biggest accomplishment in my life was to survive a heart transplant so I can be there for my kids, so I can watch my kids grow up, so I can be there for my wife, so I continue doing the things that I love to do, which is being there for my family. You know that?
And I appreciate you, even though you had some struggles. I appreciate you for going through that and hanging on for that reason. You could have been like, F this.
It wasn't a day while I was in it, I didn't thought about just snatching everything loose and letting it go.
It had to be a struggle. Yeah.
It was not a day that I didn't think about you or the kids or coming out or what we'll do once I get out.
Mhm.
It's just a hard thing to go through.
But was
Yeah,
it worth it?
I'm still yet determined.
Really?
No, I'm just joking.
Like, really?
It's worth that and more, but the everyday struggles that you go through, not whether it's worth it,
Okay.
but if I didn't take the time to find out whether it was worth it, then where would I be?
Gotcha.
Or where would I
Like, if you
be?
didn't at least take the chance to go through all of this,
Yes.
would you still be here?
Yes.
Would you still be surviving?
Mhm.
I got you. So taking that chance outweighed
Not taking it.
not. Okay, gotcha.
Just like I said, either I was gonna have the transplant and die, or I was gonna not have the transplant and die.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather put up a fight for a reason than not to put up one for no reason.
And you know what we didn't talk about, and we could talk about this briefly, about, like, the false alarm. You called me, and you were like, "They got a heart. And I was like, what? For real?
No, you wasn't at the hospital, but you was at the Airbnb because you wanted to give me a kiss before they took me in.
You're right. I was
Mhm.
there. And at the Airbnb, you called because I just left, came right back. They had already wheeled you in for surgery. And I was like, darn, I missed the opportunity, but that's okay. You back there. Waited. Come to find out the person that had the heart, it wasn't a good heart for you. Once they kind of did more investigating,
Mhm.
it wasn't a heart for you. That was a little sad
Yeah.
because we thought we were there. I'm not even gonna call it a finish line. We thought we were halfway done the race at least, right? Or at least that battle of you being in the hospital for so long. And then it was like snatched.
Your picture of a sadness was a little different from mine.
Okay, well, explain.
Um, it was a turning point for me. That's what made me realize that the doctors I had were excellent.
Okay. And they just didn't want to give you any old
They
thing.
just didn't want to give me any old thing because they could have just gave me that
And be
and
like,
stitched me up
yeah,
and be like, "You good,"
right.
and then let the heart rejecting brought me back in there to try to do it again.
Okay.
But I respected the doctor enough that he went and examined it and realized that he wasn't, so he called back. During the process of waiting for a heart, the doctor that's gonna transplant the heart to you, they are the ones that go and get the heart from the person that's given the heart, and within that transaction, when they go there and get the heart, they examine the heart and tell whether it's good enough for the recipient. So what he did, he flew and looked at the heart, and he called back, and he tell them to go ahead and put me in there, prep me for the heart transplant. They go ahead and mark my chest, draw out the outline and stuff, and they put me under. So when he was there,
Mhm.
they already prepped me, and he called back and said, "Don't cut him." So they took me out of the OR and put me in the recovery room. Now, along with that being said, I give much respect to the doctor that done that. And did it hurt me? For a split second, but once I thought about it, I couldn't do nothing but respect his decision because I know if he's gonna be the doctor that give me the heart, then he wanna get me the best heart he can do. He coulda just sewed me up, put it in there. He coulda just told me to take my heart out. But I respect him even more because he knew or he felt that wasn't good enough for me. And once I got in the room, my wife, I could see she was down, but I'm thankful of the fact that they didn't cut me open.
Yeah, I looked at it like, "Oh my gosh, we was almost there." And then it was just snatched. But I do understand that perspective, you're right. It was
Mhm,
best that it would be the right heart versus not
mhm.
being. So, like, then, what, maybe a week and a half later,
A week and a half later.
I'm sitting in there with you.
And she was like, "What if I tell you we got a new heart? We got a heart."
We're like, "Whatever." You
Uh,
know? We're like, "Yeah, we done been through this
well, actually,
before."
that was Brittany.
And then as I think about it, why would they have been joking about that? But it ended up being the heart, and it was like, "Oh, man, so now we going through this process again." I was already there. They said he was gonna go in at 9. It ended up being a little later than that, but that's fine, and it takes you so long back there in recovery, like
Because,
hours.
I don't my body don't get along with anesthesia.
And then with this type of procedure, I know it was probably way, worse.
Yeah,
And so that's the nervous part. Like, I can look at the board and I'm like, "Oh, okay, you're out," because it tells you every step. But then you was in recovery for like 7 hours. I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh, no," and it makes you nervous. But I'm thankful that everything went good the second time, went great. You're here after over a year. And even though we're having still some bumps and struggles and adjustments and things that we're getting used to, for the most part, you say, "Hey, I'm happy that I did this.
yeah,
I'm still trying to discover who I am, rediscover who I am." And guess what? At least you know that, and that we can go forward and work on that together.
yeah. "You get me a heart, and I'll show you what I can do
That's
afterwards."
what you kept saying.
And I did. As soon as he gave me a heart,
You
the first day after I had that heart, I tried to get up and walk. I couldn't because I fainted. That second day, they trying to help me get out of bed. I said, "Nope, I don't want your help." I said, "Because if I'm gonna do this, I need to do it on my own. I don't need nobody help to because that's how I am. Everything I felt like everything I had to do, I had to do on my own, even though I had people with me. My wife was with me, my kids, but I had to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And the only way I can make it through is to make it on my own. Like, no disrespect to you. I know you was there for me. Even when you wasn't in the hospital, I had to make it on my own. I had to get
You're
my
right.
mind right.
You're right, because your mental
Yes.
affects
I had to
everything.
keep my mind strong.
Correct.
I had to do this. I had to do that. Not taking away anything you did for me, anything the kids
Not at
or
all.
the friends did for me, the family, none of that. I appreciate everything y'all done. Y'all been there for me from the beginning to the end. But I felt like I had to do that because nobody know what I go through but me or what I can do.
So, I don't want to end this podcast because, like, we could talk about this,
Yeah.
All day because there's so many different levels to this. And we can actually do a part two to kind of get more in depth. But this podcast was really for those that are going through heart transplant or any type of transplant to know you are not alone in this journey. There's a lot of emotions that are attached to it and that you can get through it and you can make it. There's one last thing I do want to ask. What would you say to someone that's about to go through this?
You don't have a good support system or a good support team, find one.
And look in the places that you would have never thought to look.
Yes, because family is not always the best support system.
Facts.
It
And
can
some
be
people don't have
somebody.
family.
Some people don't have family. All I can say is the person you least expected will be there more than you, be there for you more than you expect.
Facts. Facts. That is true. Look a little deeper, and sometimes you'll find support in the areas that you never thought.
Or if you got more questions you want to ask me,
Then you can always email outloudandinprogress
Yeah.
at gmail.com, or you can message me on any of the socials under Out Loud and in Progress, and I'll make sure that he answers your questions or ease your mind on certain things. We definitely can make sure that happens because that was the intent or the purpose of this podcast, to reach out to people.
and I hope I didn't scare anyone in the process of getting a heart transplant. You're better off trying than not trying or giving up.
We just want to be transparent
Just be
in the
transparent
journey
in the
and to
journey.
let you
It's
know.
not an easy journey. It's not an easy toll, but I guarantee you'll be stronger on the other end.
And what I would say to someone that cares or loves someone that's going through this is be strong, be supportive, understand that what they're going through has nothing to do with you, how they're reacting. Give grace, okay? Take things with a grain of salt because this one here can be cranky on a regular basis and sometimes was a little bit more cranky, in these situations. But I had to look at it from a different perspective and say, you know what, it's not about me. I have to be supportive of him in his journey, and I cannot even understand what he's going through mentally or physically, and just be supportive in any way that I can. I tried to make his hospital life comfortable in the best ways I could. I bought internet service and brought the PlayStation
Oh
and
yeah.
brought all his favorite blankets,
Yeah.
brought the games, brought the suitcase
Oh
full of.
yeah. It's a lot of things that we hadn't talked about that could be talked about on another podcast.
I just tried to make it feel, even though it wasn't his home, I tried to make it feel as much as home. And even those things I felt like I couldn't do enough to make him happy or satisfied. And it's no shade, right?
Yeah.
Because I do understand the reasoning, but I kept trying and I kept trying to be supportive and I kept loving you and I kept being there. And that's what it takes. Just being there for that person. And I hope that I did the best I can in the way
Oh,
that I
you
could.
did wonderful, baby. I couldn't have asked for nobody else to do any better. You did wonderful.
I appreciate that. And thank you for going through it and surviving and putting yourself in that place where you know you were doing it for more than just you. So I appreciate that.
No problem.
Kelvin, thank you for being here and for telling the truth and not sugarcoating it
Oh
because that's what
no.
we do here.
If anybody know me, they know I don't sugarcoat nothing.
So your story is really one of strength. Yes. But it's also of softness, fear, surrender, and your continual rebirth and figuring out who you are. To everyone listening, if you've ever had to rebuild your life after it tried to break you, you are absolutely not alone. And to the caregivers, family, and friends, your presence matters more than you even know. And as always, we're all still growing, still healing, out loud, and continually in progress. Thank you guys for joining me. Again, I'm Elle Sunshine, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to Out Loud and in Progress with Elle Sunshine. If you enjoyed our podcast, please follow us on all social media platforms under Out Loud and in Progress. If you would like to make contact with us, you can email us at outloudandinprogress@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. Hope this podcast touched you in some way, shape, or form, and we will see you on the next podcast.